Hi, I'm Onoja Simeon, and I'd like to have a quick chat with my fellow Africans. And a couple of weeks ago, I saw myself out of a Facebook group that I voluntarily joined, and it's an African group. Mostly, they talk about things that have to do with Africa and Africans, and so I thought it was a good group to join. So I joined, but not too long after I joined, I realized that every discussion, almost everything that people talk about is how to blame Europeans, how to blame the transatlantic slave trade and colonialism for all the woes of Africa. And I thought at some point that that's not right. Yeah, I didn't think it was right for, young Africans to keep focusing on the rearview mirror, have your eyes fixed on the rearview mirror while hoping you'll get somewhere reasonable. That's not feasible. That's not possible. And so I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about the whole colonialism and slave trade and all of that, but I think you don't need to look too far to realize that the damage that is presently being done. Okay, now, the transatlantic slave trade involved people being forced against their will, people being dragged and chained to be transported to Europe and to other parts of the world to be enslaved. We have a scenario today where young people volunteer themselves, knowing full well the risk involved. I was listening to this guy who, him and his youngest, I don't know if it's younger or elder now, his sister, left a part of Nigeria and embarked on that dangerous journey to Europe. And he said he was fortunate, he survived, but his sister did not survive. And he said before they left, they were told that of every 10 people that embark on this journey, maybe 4 or 3 would eventually make it to Europe. And of those 4 or 3, some of them even end up being deported when they eventually get to Europe. But that they said they would rather be among those lucky 3 than remain or continue to experience whatever it was they were experiencing in Nigeria at that time. And there's this African proverb that says, if you see a rat running into a burning bush, it is clear that what is chasing that rat is definitely hotter than the burning bush. And so you're complaining about something that happened 200 years ago, when in fact, as you speak, it is happening. This time, rather than people waiting to be caught and chained and forced to go out and be enslaved, people are volunteering themselves, people are going by themselves to be enslaved. And instead of complaining about something that happened 200 years ago, shouldn't you be looking at what can be responsible for what is presently happening? Shouldn't you be questioning this crop of leaders who have done more damage to the continent than the white man has ever done? You got independence 60 years ago, talking about Nigeria. And 60 years later, you still want to blame the white man for whatever structure you claim they left that has made it impossible for you to succeed. Let's agree, for 1 minute, that they actually left a structure that is designed to fail. Divide and conquer and all the other things we talk about. But 60 years later, you've not been able to fix that. Who in God's name is to blame? It reminds me of some of these young people you speak to sometimes who would tell you that the reason why they can't succeed is because there's one uncle or one auntie or one stepmom somewhere who is bewitching them. And I'm like, so if you know someone is bewitching you, then you don't have a problem. All you need to do is to fight against that bewitchment and get your life together. It's similar. And you see, we make this transatlantic slave trade thing to sound like we're Africans were the only ones who were ever enslaved. It might shock a lot of us to know that between the 16th and 18th century, a good number of Europeans, mostly people from Spain and France and all the other countries, were enslaved by North Africans. Aha, I'm sure that will come as a shock, right? You don't need to look too far to get that. Go online, check, get materials, read. The reason that has been kept very quiet, I think, is one of the things I wanted to talk about, because you can't continue to celebrate how much of a victim you are and expect to be respected. You can't. It's like two things. You can't have both. So that might be responsible for the reason why that particular incident has been kept very quiet. if you read or dig a little bit, you realize that most of those countries that were taken, that the France, Spain, and all these other countries went to take slaves from at that time, were actually countries that took slaves from France and Spain and some of these countries between 16th and 18th century. And so they didn't remain and continue to complain about how much evil was done to them. And please don't assume that this guy talking does not know how bad the entire transatlantic slave thing was. I've traveled to Elmina, the place in Ghana where slaves were being, converged before transported to other parts of the world. And I saw firsthand how much evil was perpetrated in that place. I saw clearly. In fact, I shed tears as I was walking around and seeing things that humans did to fellow humans. But the question I keep asking myself is, the things that fellow African leaders are doing to Africans today, which is worse? Is it that or this? And so I do not believe that we should continue to blame the Europeans for everything that is happening in Africa. At some point, we need to take our eyes off the rearview mirror and try to look forward and try to make life and things better for ourselves as we go forward. We cannot continue, to blame everything on Europeans. Yes, it was bad, but it's in the past. Now it's time for us to take back our destiny, take back our lives, take back our future, and try to make something of it. And it's not just Africa or African countries that were colonized by the Brits. India, for example, was also colonized almost the same way as Nigeria. But look at India today. India has moved on. India is doing extremely well in terms of technology and all the other advancements and other things that is happening. India is doing extremely well. Maybe that's because they've been able to look forward at the future and take their eyes off the whole things that happened in the past. And so I'm a bit uncomfortable with young people who would, rather than, ask the right questions, question the right structures and make the right moves, would only continue to glut and moan about things that happened 200 years ago or 60 years ago. Maybe I'm just being forward. Being someone who just tries to go forward, but maybe that's something we should try, because for more than 60 years now we've been trying the other one and it's not working. And so this thing I've just said, whatever I've just said, it's not a law. I'm not an authority in this field. It's just me thinking out loud. And please, I would like you to leave a comment as per what you think. What do you think? Do you think I'm being naive? Do you think what I'm saying is not sensitive enough? Do you think I'm right? Because I think we need to reorient a good number of young Africans who keep listening to these people, who just keep selling these things and keep looking for who to blame. We need to forget about some of these things and move on. Anyways, that's my opinion. Thank you for watching till the end. I'll see you in my next video.